Alexa, stop. That's my favorite song on the bagpipes, Bonnie Dundee. It's actually what I had my great uncle pipe my wife in as she walked down the aisle 14 years ago. We have our anniversary coming up this in February, so I can't believe it. So I was, again, I'm always looking for something to talk about. One thing I haven't really talked too much about is my Scottish attire and Scottish kit. And I've got a pretty, extensive collection of Utilikilts. So I'm going to talk about that, compare it to some of the more traditional stuff, talk about pros, cons, what I've learned. And, but before I do, a note on what I would call, cultural appropriation. I definitely want to be sensitive to the Scottish culture, people from Scotland, people from Ireland, Irish culture, and I just got to say, I don't have this all figured out. I've, spent my entire life in upstate New York, but I have been fortunate to have a strong family connection to Scotland. And this book here, James Fraser and Descendants, actually has my dad's name in this book, traced back to a James Fraser who came to the United States during the Revolutionary War. And, with all that trivia, it's funny how when the show Outlander came out, how many similarities they were, which I think created a lot more interest in Scottish culture. But I'm, not the same exact line as that, but, enough similarities to be, I think, interesting. I've also been lucky to have a whole bunch of family members in some local bagpipe bands or far away bagpipe bands. I've had family and friends compete at the World Championships in Scotland. And I was always a bystander, I gotta be honest. I just never had the ability to join the band or play pipes or drums, but I've spent a lot of time Scottish games, enjoying the music, culture, food, beverages, so I've kind of been inundated in this stuff my whole life. So I think the first thing I'd say is if you're interested in Scottish culture, I just don't feel self-conscious about it. It's exciting, and I think trying to keep interest in the culture alive is a really important thing to do. So I would just encourage you, you're not a fake or a phony if you have an interest in Scottish culture, participating in Scottish games, joining a bagpipe band, anything like that. I would just say go for it, have a good time. Everyone's great, and you'll be welcomed. So with that, I want to talk about my kit a little bit. And I gotta say, I am not hardcore. I go to Scottish games every year. I go to a lot of Scottish music whenever I can. But I'm I don't have a full set of formal attire or anything like that. But I like to show up and pay homage to my ancestry and be part of the crowd. So the funny thing is, my whole life always had one kilt. That was my formal kilt, and I always had that. And a funny story, I wore one to school in first grade and got made fun of for the rest of my school career because I wore a kilt to school one time when I was in first grade for show and tell. So kids can be so mean, and again, I'm not discouraging anybody from doing it, but that's like how far back my interest was, that I wore a kilt to school in first grade for show and tell. So I've always had one kind of traditional set of stuff, and then I have Utilikilts for a couple of reasons, which I'll get into. And that's just kind of how I've always done it. What happened was I started going to Scottish games, and I want to say, and the one I go to is upstate New York, Altamont Fairgrounds. I want to say it was probably the late 90s when I started seeing this booth for a company called Utilikilts. And I would say at first a little snobbish about it. I don't know how else to say it. Having grown up my whole life with traditional stuff, and I was even snobbish about that in my teens and 20s. Like, if you don't have a quality kilt, don't bother, you know, blah, blah, that attitude, but screw that. So I saw this Utilikilts booth, and I was like, this is trash, you know, or whatever. But what I realized was they had a really interesting concept. Take the benefits of a kilt, make it out of durable, washable materials, and make it something that is accessible to the everyman or woman. Again, I kind of came around over the years, and I started picking up some Utilikilts. It was not long ago. I mean, probably 15 years ago. I got my first one, which turned into 2, which turned into 3. And all the original ones I have are gone because something horrible happened, and you know, you could say they all shrunk in the closet. As we go through life, sizes change. I've been through a few of them. This is my current set that fit. And hopefully I don't need to buy too many more, or maybe I'll be lucky and buy some smaller ones someday. But and I'm wearing one right now, so this is not going to really show on the video. This is they call it the Workman. You can see that this has been loved. It's been used a lot, it's been washed a lot, it's seen a lot of sun. I've worn it for quite a few projects, and I find it to be a perfectly serviceable garment for many things. Many things that don't involve ladders, I should say. It's great. You get the whole ventilation effect. You look cool. Your legs are free to move in any direction. Just generally, I've been really happy with it. I think the pocket layout's pretty smart. All the hardware is beefy and high quality. The stitching's good. This is like, I would call it a regular like Detroit Carhartt jacket is made out of, that kind of duck. Like this would stand up to that as far as fabric toughness. So this Workman I've had for quite a while. It is a little big, but again, I sized up because I got a killer deal on eBay. This was like $50. I had to say yes. Figured I'd have room to grow if I needed it, but there's a waist cincher on the inside, and I cinched it all the way down, and it's usable, and then you can use the belt, so it's good. If you tuck some stuff in, fit even better. One thing I am not a huge fan of is there's no like legit hammer loop, and there's this little thing. Couldn't fit a hammer in there unless I'm missing a. There's no hammer loop, but I do really like this little guy, this clip here. You could clip stuff on it. And the cargo pockets, there's a kind of little toolbox pocket, and then a bigger full pencil and whatever. And you got some little slots over here for your utility knife, pencils, square, whatever you're carrying at the time. Overall, and back pockets, which I don't know if you can see on here, but there's where are those pockets? I can't see. I haven't used the back pockets too much. So overall, just been really happy with this kilt. And if you're just thinking like, I want to give it a try, eBay's got a lot of deals on these Workman style ones because they get beat up. And yeah, just buy a trashed one with paint all over it as your first kilt and go have a good time. Get to work. So, that's kind of where I'm starting from. But before I go through the collection, I was thinking maybe I'll take this first one. This is another Workman, same model as the one I'm wearing right now. Little newer, hasn't seen as much action, and this is a good example of a Utilikilt pattern. And I want to talk through the differences between what's going on with this and what's going on with this, which is your traditional Scottish bagpipe kilt. Not a great kilt, just a regular kilt. So now here's the other thing I'm gonna say. When I take this off the hanger and open it, I'm just gonna look like I'm wrestling with fabric and probably look like a nightmare. So I'm gonna do my best to make this all make some sense, and we'll go through the features of the kilt, talk about how it's made, and then I'll pull the other one down. All right, so once these come off the hanger, they're never going back on. If anyone has good hangers recommendation, please make me some hanger recommendations. So first of all, when they open up, they look massive. But think about pie. You know, when you put your waist in there, it's actually pretty tight. There's also quite a lot of overlap. So if you see these buttons on the front, or snaps, sorry, they correspond with these snaps over here, and they snap together. Now, if you're looking to buy one of these on the secondary market, I'm going to tell you something. Some of the older ones lack, I don't know if it's just 1 or 2 of these top snaps. So they have the 6, but they don't have all 8. It might be 7 or 8. I can't remember. 9, 10, whatever. So if you're looking at one of these, you absolutely want to make sure you have this corner snap. I think I have one that doesn't, when I go through it. Because if it doesn't, it's always going to want to like flop open on you. So just to say out loud. So on the interior of this, you can see it's got this pretty cool cincher. So this is their first, one of the Utilikilts, I'll call it earlier versions of size control, because they realize people try to buy these and keep them for a while, and you want it to fit for a while. So this does offer a little bit of flexibility in, you know, you move these 2 snaps, and you can, you know, size it up or down by putting the snaps in a different location. At least that's what I take it as being. Or it could be, you know, again, maybe this is the hammer loop. So actually, you learn something new every day. This could also actually be a hammer loop sizer. That might be what it is. I don't know. This one does not do that. I haven't worn this one too much, so that actually could be, let's see if I'm wearing it. Yeah, I mean, that could be, no, see, that's still got that little teeny tiny loop. This one does not have it. So anyway, yeah, isn't it funny when the teacher tries to teach, he becomes a student? That's me right now. So that's what that may be, or it could be a sizer. If anyone really knows the answer to that, please post it. This is, again, I haven't worn this one too much. One other interesting thing on the inside that the newer ones have is you'll see a snap here, and you'll see a snap, a corresponding snap like down here. They can snap together while you're wearing it, and it is I'll call it a modesty panel, where if you do need to go up on a ladder wearing this, you can close it down in the middle, which allegedly offers you a little bit of coverage in that area. I can't claim to have tested that. I'm usually wearing my 1620s for most heavy jobs these days. But, you know, that's that. So if I flip around, let's look at the pocket layout. So here's our front. Again, we've got the little loop, our clip, same pocket that I have on now. Here's our back pockets, pretty sizable. This got a full embroidered logo, that mystery loop, in our left pocket, or right pocket, sorry. And we've got belt loops. They are oversized, so you can put a 2-inch wide belt easily, maybe even 2.5, if you want to have like a more traditional wide type of belt, or a big tool belt, or whatever's going on here. Care label, 100% cotton, machine wash cold, hang dry, cool, iron only. So the other thing I'll call out, the seams on this are for pockets and things like that, double stitched. There are a lot of single stitch seams in here, but there's also an incredible amount of seams. And I really gotta say, Utilikilt, they were like, let's make a really hard pattern. And you know, when we talk about pleats, I've seen a few different Utilikilt pleat designs in the past, and this is, I think, one of the newer ones. So we've got 3 panels of fabric. One, you can see the edge, maybe 4 panels. And each one's got 5 or 6 pleats on it. Each pleat has 2 rows of stitching. One on this side, one on the other side. Again, I'm no expert. And they're all hemmed up at the bottom. So, you know, there's a lot of work into one of these. So if you think like, that looks really expensive, I would just say I can tell there's a lot of work, and they are made in USA, I believe. I don't see if it says it on here. Made in USA. They make them in a shop in Washington, Seattle, Oregon, somewhere out there. Sorry guys, Utilikilt, if you see this video, please feel free to comment all the stuff that I'm screwing up, new features, etc. I've had a few customer service inquiries over the years with Utilikilt, and again, small American-owned business on the West Coast. Always had fast responses, all that stuff. So that's the Workman. Weight? Let's weigh. Why not? I don't really think that's a big consideration with this kind of thing, but you might have a question. 3.4 pounds. So there's a lot of fabric in here. Gotta say. All right, I'm gonna fold this up and put it down. Yeah, I just put it on my workbench. Guess what? Because it's a work kilt. This one here I bought last year. This is my newest, and if I'm gonna say what's my daily driver, it's gonna be this. This one differs from the Workman. I would not wear this on the job site. This is what I would call, like, I'm going to a casual party event, maybe even Scottish event, and wear this. Actually, I would wear it to a Scottish event because that one is a little small. So this one has a totally different layout. This one has some really neat stuff. Number one, it's denim. And it is, you know, it's a nice quality denim. I wouldn't call it a selvage, although that would be a really cool idea. Make a selvage version of a kilt with a selvage ID kind of going down the front or something for us denim nerds. That would be really cool. So again, if you Utilikilts, you see that and want to ever talk about it, that would be fun. Now this one has, you know, these only have cargo pockets. These actually have slot pockets. They're very, very deep. You can lose your phone in there, which, again, if you have a huge phone, it's great. If you don't, I mean, look how long that pocket is. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but you could fit a lot of stuff in there. Maybe that's why. They just wanted to have a lot of room. Again, very high attention to detail. All the pleats, everything. The sewing's great. I like the slightly contrasting yarn color on the stitching. What really makes the pattern on this one unique is it's I can't remember what they call it, but it's got these side gussets. And what you can actually do is Velcro it open and completely give yourself more inches of waist. So, here, let me hold it this way. So when you're looking at this thing, look at those 2 gussets. You can give yourself more inches, probably 4 more inches at least, maybe more. And they're elastic, so they kind of have a little give to it. The Velcro doesn't, but you know, down lower there would be a little bit. You can see it, maybe see it stretching a tiny bit. So really cool idea, and I would say like future-proof kilt right here. I wish all of my Utilikilts had this same situation, but again, I bought some of mine on the secondary market that I have now, so you get what you can get. These will run you a little higher on the secondary market. Utilikilt posted this on Instagram. I bought it like the day they released it. They were a deal. They had, you know, 15% off, 20 something, and it didn't set me back as much as you would think for American-made, quality, handmade garment. So again, I'm a big fan of that. Last Utilikilt I have, oh, it opened. Vintage, you know, eBay find, and this one is a old denim. This one's blue. And what's interesting about this one is it's actually a stretch. It's got a little bit of elastic in it. So this denim has some give. Very comfortable to wear. And this one has a different layout than the other ones. You know, again, this is it's somewhat like a workman, but this one, I said earlier, you can see it's missing those two top buttons. So when you're wearing it, if your waist is not super tight, here, let me put it together. I know, I told you that it was gonna be a nightmare, everybody, sorry. When you're wearing it, this part just wants to fly open because there's no buttons at the top couple inches. If I was gonna mod this, I would put some snaps there. But again, I'm just too lazy. I got other projects in my on hand right now. So yeah, I like this one because I just like to have color options. This one's definitely super casual. You know, I would wear that too. Probably not a Scottish event because it's a little too much on the casual side. I would wear this black one with some of my other getup. So let's talk about Old Faithful over here. Speaking of anniversary, I wore this when I got married. And first thing I'm gonna do, very carefully, let's weigh. This is 100% wool. I don't know the weight. This one weighs in at 3.04 pounds. Oh, it's on the ground. 3 pounds. So let me try to demonstrate what makes, in my opinion, now that this is a full 8-yard kilt, maybe 9. You know, they used to say the full 9 yards, and maybe they used to require 9, but they do it with 8. This is an 8-yard kilt, and when you buy kilts, how many yards of fabric is kind of what defines like the quality level. And I know it's like it's the same width as my other ones, but it's so hard to show on a video. But see, you can kind of see how much swish it has. Like when you see a nice kilt and someone's walking around, the pleats just have this beautiful way that they fall. And each of these pleats, you can see how small they are compared to the Utilikilts. There's dozens of them. And I think I counted Utilikilts like 20 something. There's like 30 or 40 on here. And they're deep. See, each pleat goes in a full 3 to 4 inches. So there's so much fabric bunched up and utilized that when you see an 8-yard kilt, it's because it's all jammed into these pleats. But you just get this absolutely gorgeous way that they fall. And for me, like, I would only ever buy a kilt like this or nothing for traditional wear, because it's worth the investment to have it look right. Utilikilts, you can get away with it. They move some, and they're a great price point. Retail on Utilikilts, sorry if I'm quoting this wrong, you know, you're probably in the 300-ish, 300-400. Retail on a wool for a new one, size to fit you, probably 1,200. I bought this one used as well. You can see here, ATD Kilt Makers. And again, this one, I bought this for my wedding. It is a little small, sad, waist 36. Maybe someday I will fit back into this, but I'm saving it because it's beautiful and it's my wedding kilt. So that's the real difference in how that's laid out. Just all these pleats, and then very, very basic. If you think about like all the other stuff that Scottish people tend to wear, like the kilt is just the first layer of awesomeness. So we've got, these are for storage, just one little leather flap, no pockets, nothing. So very, very simple. Love you. This is such nice. And I don't know how the color is turning out on a video, but it's so red. It is. This is the Fraser traditional Fraser tartan that, you know, is aligned to my book, my family. So while we're going through all that, I wanted to talk about some of the accessories that you can employ. So these green socks. You know, they call them hose, H-O-S-E, and they're very, very long. And what they end up doing is you pull it up and then you kind of fold it over a couple times and make like a nice cuff. And so here's some traditional hose. It's got this little bobbly pattern on it. But my wife makes socks, so I was like, can I have some colors? So I got green, I've got red, I've got some Christmas ones, I've got a black set. So I kind of have just options for different, you know, again, levels of formality, seasonality, etc. So you get your hose, and then we got a shirt. So when I'm going to an event, where's all that? Oh, over there. When I go to an event, I wear this. It's a Jacobite shirt, all covered in dust because it's been in my closet for a while. I just think it looks cool. It's got the, you know, string collar, I guess, and this is a white cotton shirt. Nothing fancy. Buy it at any online store. And then finally, I've got a cheap belt, which is very much, you know, I would call it meh. It's genuine leather, which means that. But, you know, I just got it. I needed a belt. I got it. I bought this from a pipe band, belt buckle. It gets the job done. About 2 inches wide. It's got some nice embossing on it. If I was like in a pipe band, this would be considered garbage, but works for me. And then I do have a nice, what's called a sporran. So that's, you know, because you have no pockets, you wear your sporran and kind of cover up your vulnerable parts and hold whatever you got to hold. So, and then I threw a couple things in here. I've got 2 other accessories. One is, this is your traditional leg knife, and that tucks, you know, you put that into your sock. Now, careful with these. You're dressed up in Scottish attire. Make sure you know if where you're going has a metal detector or not, because it's clearly, you know, a weapon. Again, this is like nothing special. I'm not actually going to be putting it to use, so I just got one that I like the looks and has a little red gem on the end, which is definitely fake. And then these are called flashes. So you put these around your calf, and then when you are, you know, when you have your socks on, this kind of is on the outside, your sock is rolled over, and then you've got these nice little flags. So when I got married, again, these were made, my wife made these for me. So the old, you know, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, this was the new thing. And then the kilt was the old thing because it was from an old pipe band that was retired and sold on eBay. And so, yeah, you know, there you go. So hopefully that video was helpful. If you're thinking about Scottish culture, you just watched Outlander, if you're looking at Utilikilts, get one. You know, overall, I just hope there's something in here that gave you something to think about. You know, again, it's like I've just kind of accumulated this stuff over the years, and I just love having some kit. So when I'm doing something, I have options. I can dress up, dress down, wear some traditional attire, mix it up with some more modern attire, wear my Utilikilt when I'm working on the house, and just have options. So yeah, please drop a comment if you're so inclined, if you have a question, if you represent Utilikilts, love any info and all the crap I just said. I know that you're always coming out with innovative and interesting things, so I keep an eye on your content, and you know, probably buy another one at some point. And yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day.